welcome to Beauties and Beasties, the independent pest podcast for the UK.
Well, two things. Oh, good evening, Wayne. First one in, but they've changed the
Yeah.
We've
got a little picture, look.
Yeah, John Rush.
Got
good evening.
Ooh.
Bring that up with some stuff.
That's quite neat.
Yeah. Good, isn't it?
Look, you get a little picture of people. Hey.
Yeah. Is that the right one? Let's see. Just gonna have a quick play with this and see if we can.
There we go, look.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Stop fiddling.
Yeah. So, how's your week been, Hugh? What have you learned?
What have I learned?
Yeah.
I have learned that there is a term in the world called mansplaining.
Oh, go on. How have you learned that?
Because apparently I mansplained to somebody something, and they used it as an excuse to terminate the contract. So it was a bit like, yeah. So I had to look up what mansplaining was, and apparently that's what I did. But I'm sure I didn't turn around to her and say, "I'll tell you what it is, love." I didn't use those terms, or I didn't say, "Make me a sandwich." I just, yeah. So I've learned what mansplaining is this week.
Right.
What else have I learned this week? That people take offense very easily when you're just actually trying to be professional and explain something to them. So it must be a very fine line now between being a professional and explaining it in a professional manner, and not for somebody to say you're mansplaining. Well, if somebody doesn't know anything about pest control, then you would think it would be okay for the professional to put over the professional opinion. But
yeah,
I don't know. Not something I've been accused of before. So it's a new one. I've been accused of being a prick, but not mansplaining.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? What have you learned?
That audit went brilliant. So the one where Rento tried to stab her in the back and that. We're talking about it, saying it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because when Rento says stuff, people listen, and they've been on this site for years and they've failed the last 2 years because of the numbers of pigeons on site. So but even then, even though they were failing the way they were doing it, when Rento say this needs to be dealt with, people listen because of the brand of Rento, So luckily we've done a lot, and the auditor come in and give her a massive pat on the back. He said we were thoroughly expecting to come here and fail yesterday, because we just couldn't see you getting on top of it. And you have got on top of it, and it's been awesome. So yeah, so we are a happy bunch of campers. They got through it. They got their audit. Life continues. We continue. What else has happened this week?
Rupert, I just got reply back to Rupert. Better not say, mate. Otherwise, if you're judging somebody's age, that'll be wrong.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Yeah. Something else has happened this week. I'm trying to think what it was. We got through that. I've got loads of stuff for next week to talk about, but that's news. Just drainage stuff. I've managed to get in the office and get a load of work booked in and things tidied up and sorted out. And interestingly, you go in and you start sending your quotes out, and the next thing we're booked in like 3 or 4 decent jobs today. Just that was sitting waiting to go, So that's good. Get on with that. bees are starting to warm up, aren't they? Like my bees, being down there. I nearly dug a hole in the golf course
Oh,
fairway.
you said the word.
Yeah, but like this, I very nearly dug a massive hole with the van in the fairway of the golf course. Because you can drive, you've got to drive up to the bees. So, like as soon as I come off, it was okay, and I thought, no, it'll be fine. This, and then halfway there, when I was half committed, it went a bit soft. So I just coasted through it. I got through it. It was fine. Got out, done what I needed to do, turned around, coasted on the way back, and it stopped halfway. And I was like, I'm going to dig a hole in the middle of the fairway here. Like, rang up my contact on the site. And he was like, Sean, it's 3 o'clock. The groundsman will have went home. I was like, oh no. Rang Mike, are going to come down and give us a hand. But it's not even a one way you can try to get the van out, is it? It's got to come out, because as soon as you dig a hole, there's fucking hell on, isn't there? Yeah, luckily, the two lads, the two greenkeepers are lovely, and they came back and they jumped in the tractor, put the tractor on and just pulled out. I was like, sorry, but you would have went ballistic tomorrow, wouldn't he? He's like, yeah, we definitely would have. Like, so well done for not being a bullhead and shoving your way through, and
could have been nasty.
So yeah, that could have definitely been getting your bees off here now. Don't come back. So that was, but that was all right, and everything seems to be warming up a bit, doesn't it?
Certainly does in Iran.
Oh, that's close. I tell you what it is. He's done quite a bit in a short period of time, hasn't he? You've got to give it to him. He's a man of action, isn't he? He's like,
worried about the petrol?
What type of technician would he be?
Oh, that's a good point. We'll revisit that one.
Oh yeah. What type of technician would Donald Trump be, and would you employ him as a technician? I guess that's the question, isn't it?
Well, the other one is,
I'd employ him tomorrow. I'd love him in my squad. He'd get shit done for you, wouldn't he?
Are you worried about the petrol going up? Or is it just like whatever will happen, and we got to deal with it?
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. We'll deal with it one way or another. The Iran thing, we've got no idea of what's going on there. The only thing I would say is, I think it will definitely impact the rest of the world because of this. There's obviously a narrative going on about Muslims trying to take over, and Iran was funding the terrorism and blah, 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 which is true from what I can see. If I'm totally honest with you, I think that's absolutely true. And I think his actions there will definitely, it'll embolden some, it'll knock others on the head. There'll be a dynamic shift as a result of it. How that works out, I don't know. But you definitely feel like it's going to have some sort of traction on your day-to-day life rather than your pest control life.
Inevitable? I believe it was.
I don't really know what's kicked it off, though, do you?
Not specifically, but I think it was inevitable, whether it had been this year or whether it had been the next year or another year. I think something would have happened again. It's like that clip with Borat, isn't it, when he plays the dictator, and he's looking at the missile, and it's the pimp, I want a pointy nose on the missile. And then he's like, we are not enriching uranium. We are doing it for medical purposes.
Well, they're definitely doing that, because did you see the thing where they're talking about that? That was quite interesting. He said, we're entitled to enrich uranium the same as everyone else. And he's like,
yeah,
why are we not allowed it? Like, and then he was like, yeah, for clean energy. And you're like, you clearly don't. Like, that would be the crux that hangs around. And I think anyways, let's talk about
good tech, bad tech.
So if anyone didn't watch, we've already done good boss, bad boss, haven't we? Where we spoke about bosses, etc.
Yeah.
etc. Now we're going to talk about technicians. I'm going to be dead honest and be very open and say I'm now an employee, so I see things differently in a way
Yeah.
that I never saw when I was an employee. I was an employee for a long time, so you know, it's just I'll be biased probably in a number of ways, or I'll try not to be biased, but it'll probably come across that way, and it'll probably annoy a lot of technicians, like a lot of technicians, what I've got to say. But it is what it is, and let's just, yeah. So, good tech, bad tech.
So let's go through my little list of, you know,
Yeah,
what the bot thinks a good technician type is, and then we'll come back to what the good tech is. The
Yeah.
bait chucker.
yeah.
The bait chucker. Who's the bait chucker? Who knows a bait chucker? Who
I'm
in
going
the
to ask
comments?
an honest question here, right? So, I think I can be a bait chucker. I think there's characteristics that will apply in part to people, but I also think that them characteristics probably apply to all of us at some time. You know, like I've certainly been there way. Trying to think who it was. I can't remember who it was, but he used to say to us, sometimes
Get
you
it
just got to hit a
down.
problem. Yeah, you've just got to hit a problem with a hammer. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to whack them.
I remember having a little tablespoon sellotape to a piece of bamboo stick, and spooning out the grain bait and just putting spoonfuls down like that. And
Yeah.
my old supervisor pushed me out the way. He said, "You got to get it down, son. You got to get it down." And he comes out with a big scoop, and he's like scooping it out and whacking it down. You know, it's like, oh, okay, mate. It's like, don't pussy around, get it down. Like, oh, okay, then.
I tell you what I would say about that. Not long ago I was at that Killgerm Day, and Rob Simpson said something that I totally and utterly disagree with in its entirety of the statement. He was talking about active ingredients and etc. And he said, if you are dealing with a problem and you are putting bait down and they are eating it en masse and you are not getting on top of it, you are probably dealing with the resistance, and you probably need to jump from to a different AI. And I can remember I used to think like that. However, I am now of the opinion that 99.9% of those jobs are just a sheer underestimation
of the size of the population.
Because the times when we find that that's happened is one of two things: either on an agricultural site where you just miss the amount and all the numbers moving in, and it's, you know, you're killing 50, 100 rats without knowing it, or when you find the source of them, you find it's like a broken drain and it's as black as hell. It's been run to death, and you think, that's a proper infestation, that, you know. So I don't. When you talk about bait chuck and getting it down, I do believe you've got to get enough down to deal with the problem.
You should never throw bait. Place it from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah. Ratty boots. Yeah. Some firms by me use enough bait to cover the bottom of the tray. That's it. Bag of grain should last them till retirement. Long. Yeah. But for what I would say is, I will almost guarantee you that if on those jobs where you had that many rats, where they were eating that bait, if we were to kill them and send the tails off for testing, I think you'd find a lot of them weren't suffering with rodenticide resistance.
I think that from some of the farms that we've done, there becomes a level where you just cannot, you know, it's bad. You think, oh, Jesus, this is bad. But I don't think you really realize quite how bad it is above that. And perhaps that's now where maybe now you've got cheaper infrared things, infrared cameras and scopes and things. Maybe it's worth going round in the evening and having a look and seeing actually how many are really there at night. You know, you've got smear marks going up over the parlour, and there's footprints, and you put a sand pad down to judge how many are there, and come back a week later and the sand's just dissipated everywhere. So it can be quite hard to tell quite how bad it is. You know, you come along with your 5 kilos and you think, oh, if I put that down, that's another, oh God, that's another 10 quid down there.
Never think like that. You're the tightest man in the world, aren't you? So
I'm not saying that's me. I'm just saying, you know, some people might think, you know, oh no, I'll only put 5 kilos down, or that'll do me for the, oh mate, I've put down sacks and sacks and sacks on some farms. Sacks of it.
Yeah, oh yeah, we've done that. Chorn and Chips makes a point, and this is where I'm going to look a bit biased, right? He says, I've been in the game 27 years, so he's obviously the 30-year veteran.
He's the 30-year man, yeah.
I've worked with 50 plus techs. There's only 4 of them that I would happily employ. The industry is underpaid, and the big companies just want routine numbers, not quality. And this is one of the things that as you grow as a company, you have to employ someone. You have to give someone a job. And every tech thinks they are underpaid and they want more money. As it says, the industry is underpaid. But I don't know, if 46 of the technicians you wouldn't want to employ, like, why are they underpaid? And I know the answer is that they're going to say, if we paid more, we'd get better technicians, wouldn't we? That's what they're going to say.
Well, there's okay. Here's a really open question. Sensibly, how much does everybody think that's watching? How much do you think is a fair wage?
Yeah. Or how do you think you should be calculated as a technician?
You know, because everybody thinks they're worth more. And I'm not being, you know, we don't do a 4-year apprenticeship. You know, there are a lot of technicians out there that have done a month's training. You know, Lollipop Man probably does 2 weeks training. You know, if you're just run-of-the-mill technician, what do you think you should be being paid? I don't know. I'm not saying it's not skilled. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying convince us otherwise.
Yeah, I would love to know how they would calculate their worth. Like, because I say it to my lads all the time. I say, well, just make a business case for us. Tell us why. George, because quality of candidates is directly linked to salary. Is it?
Quality. Say that again. Put that one up again, Sean.
George says the quality of the candidates is directly linked to salary. But, and I mean this in the nicest way, isn't that exactly what someone in recruitment would say? The reason we can't get you these is because you're not paying enough. Is that not the get out of jail card for not being able to find a car? Like, I'm just talking like mine, because I'm standing there thinking, is it
the quality of the candidate, or is it the amount of money that they can bring in for the company?
Yeah. This is what I'm feeling.
So what everybody's got to remember tonight is that we're just talking. These aren't necessarily our opinion. This is
Hugh's opinion. I speak to Hugh all the time, and this is Hugh's opinion. Yeah. If you offer a higher salary, you have access to better people.
So what do we think? What are we thinking then, George? Come on, guys. There's 28 people watching. Nobody said how much they think is a fair rate for a level 2 technician, just passed his exam, just starting up, passed his RSPH level 2. What do you think? Quality of candidates directly linked to the candidates.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with Andrew. I think it's a mental shift. You know, I really do. I think that's absolutely true. Andrew Sinevsky says the quality of the candidate is directly linked to the candidate's view of how meaningful the job is. Here's a question for you though. Do you think, say for George, right? Instead of looking for new candidates at a higher rate, if you increase the amount of money that you paid your employees, would you get a better job out of them? Yeah, that. George, yeah, sorry, go on, you.
Well, because we do have this conversation quite a lot, you know. If you're just paying a flat rate, what's encouraging that technician to do anymore? You know, say you're paying 20.
Sorry, if you paid that technician more, would you get a better job?
Depends how you paid them. Possibly. Minimum wage until they show their worth. Interesting.
I don't believe that. I believe that someone's work ethic is intrinsically within them, and you will never change it. And I believe if you paid them more, I think you would get a better job at best for a short period of time before they were in exactly the same thing. I think it goes back to that age-old problem of resources are scarce and human wants are infinite. A lot of US companies give a base livable wage and gives each tech the opportunity to make more on commission and taking on more clients. So if you do well, you will get referrals and be able to grow your own route or market. Interesting.
Yeah. But then we do. But the other thing about quality service is it's not just about how much the technician gets done, is it? It's also how we train them. You know, if you're going to have a quality technician, they need to feel like they're valued and they need to feel like they're worthwhile. But they've also, the company, which is something actually some technicians forget, is that the company is investing time and money in them to bring the quality of the work up by training them, and that doesn't come free.
Yeah. Here's a question for you then. So Fish for London says something very pertinent, I think. He says, I think every employer wants something different from their techs, which is why some prefer to train someone from scratch rather than another company's training impossible habits. So I believe you're absolutely right. I think I'm going to take them things off and stop just covering your face. I think you're right. Every company wants something different from their technicians. So what do you look for in a technician, Hugh?
I mean, we've been lucky. We've been really lucky with our technicians. Somebody that can at times think for themselves.
Yeah.
Somebody that is self-motivated, because don't forget, everybody's out there on their own, and it's quite easy just to sit down and go, 10 o'clock now, I'm going to sit down for the next hour. Nobody knows where I am or whatever. So somebody that's got a bit of self-motivation, self-pride in their work, you know, pride in the work, pride in the company they work for. I mean, these are all wishful thinking, perhaps, with some technicians. I've dealt with some technicians in the past that are none of those things, and you know, I think the work ethic can't be taught. You know, that's not something, that's just something that's intrinsic. You can't teach people that. You can crack the whip at them, but that's not teaching them a work ethic, is it? So that's quite important, I think. I think that's probably the main thing, really. Somebody that's prepared to get on and get up.
I think that's exactly what I look for, and that's what I appreciate most, that ability to So what you just want someone who wants to be there, don't you? Who sees who sees a solution for every problem and not a problem for every solution, don't you? That's the way I look at it. That's what we want. But if that's a good tech, what's a bad tech?
Bad technician. Somebody that expects everything and gives nothing. Somebody that can't understand the principle of swings and roundabouts, and that it's not all swings, there has to be some roundabouts. That's the attitude difference rather than the aptitude difference.
So the attitude, it comes to attitude again, doesn't it? That attitude. First thing, yeah, theory X and theory Y, yeah, get it. Yeah, tech needs to enjoy their craft. Yeah, from Sam Underwood, I agree. So if you are going to pay more for a good technician, see you've got a technician who comes to you and they are doing really good, and you think, I'm going to put their wages up. If you get a technician who comes to you who's not very good and doesn't have the right attitude, should you put the wages down?
Ooh. That's a difficult one, isn't it? You will get more technicians.
If the company isn't doing something worth taking pride in, that company has to pay more. It's funny though, Andrew, isn't it? Because I usually find those are the companies that pay less.
What's this? I look for tech. I ought to read these out, oughtn't we? Because we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? I look. Yeah. Jenny Wilson says, I look for in a tech someone who is personable, because clients must like them, and someone who genuinely likes to learn and share their knowledge. Their communication will be solid, but then the integrity must also exist, or else they won't utilize those skills properly.
Integrity is a fucking massive thing, isn't it?
Sharon says, no, if they are not good, it would be goodbye, as they represent your business.
So you're saying that's less. But this is the problem, isn't it? When you employ someone, they might not be at a level where you could get rid of them, because you've got to have a reason to get rid of them. And it's you can't say, I'm sorry, you don't represent my business. And you can get technicians, can't you, who do everything that's asked of them, you know, but no more. And that like whenever I've worked with people like that, that's been a very frustrating point, hasn't it?
Yes. And it was once said to me that a company is only as good as that specific technician that walks through the door. You know, so if you've got a shit technician, they see it as a shit company.
Yeah. So so I'm going to reverse engineer this. Everyone's talking about if you pay more, you get more. Do you think there's technicians out there who should maybe look at themselves and think, the reason why I'm getting paid this is because I'm not putting the effort in, because I'm not trying, because I'm not pushing it. And if I did, and I took a lot more pride, there might be more for us. Like, there's always an expectation on the boss that the boss pushes them, but you can't. I don't believe you can teach like self-motivation. So if you're on a wage that you think you deserve more than, the question has to be why, doesn't it, or not?
I was just thinking of something else then. If you think you're worth more, would you ever go to your employer and say, I think I'm worth more, and be able to justify it?
Yeah, I think they definitely should. I think you definitely should. If you think you're worth more, you should definitely go and say, I think I'm worth more. But I think you're right. You have to be able to justify it, don't you?
Yeah. Let's go on to the next technician type. We've done the bait chucker. Come on. I'm sorry. It's me.
30 era.
Mr. 30 years. I've done it like this. I've always done. Well, no, I'd like to think I wasn't like that, but I've done it like this. It's always been done like this. I'm going to continue like this. Where's the strychnine?
Ratty Boots. Hang on a second, just quickly before we leave that one. The employees rely on good training and support to advance their skills and knowledge. You can only learn so much from a book. Pest control is very hands-on. So it is, see, this is the problem. This is where I'm at in my life. How do you, I genuinely don't believe you can change a technician's approach to life. I don't. You know, their approach is intrinsically within them and has come from their childhood. And I genuinely believe you can give as much training and support as you want to a poor technician and you'll get nothing back from them. But I also believe a good technician will sort of get himself to the right place. So for instance, the lads who are sitting watching this as technicians are probably the ones that are going to go on, because on a Friday night at this time, they're watching the podcast, listening to it and trying to absorb. And the ones who aren't ain't going to get there.
So I've got to read these out again. We're going to, because they're coming in thick and fast. And if we don't read them out, nobody will hear them on Spotify. So George says, not necessarily directly getting better technicians automatically by paying more, but more about who you are able to attract to join the business. Matthew says, training is the key, and where most businesses let their employees down. Fish for London, Steve says, yeah, but there is loads of things we have lost over the years, Hugh, and some we would gladly have back. Surexa CD was the dog's danglies. That's for Mr. 30-yearer, Steve.
Yeah.
Ratty Boot says you can learn so much more from a good mentor than a good textbook. That's true.
Yeah.
Ashley Garrett says, I think the industry pay a piss poor wage on PAYE, to be honest, especially when the employee has experience in a diversity of skill sets. But the experience of many guys that have worked in many areas of pest wildlife control are getting on in age and are discriminated against. Unfortunately, lately, these big companies are offering jobs at a very little wage. Shame, really. It is a trade and great one at that. I worked in the industry for 10 years and I've had to go back. Matthew Johnson said, no.
Yeah.
Training is the key. No. Andy, George Jolliffe, a bad company must pay more than a good company in order to land an equivalent quality tech. T's Pest says, I left my last job in the marine industry due to the top dog saying, we have always done it like this. Bye. I'm off and starting a new adventure in pest control. I've never looked back.
So he has a question for you, because I see this all the time with people saying, I've done this for 50. I had a bloke, I fucking blocked him in the end. He was commenting on Stuart Blair's, I just can't be bothered with dickheads, can I? Stuart Blair put a video on and he was shooting pigeons. Some of them were headshots, some of them were body shots. And if you know what you're looking at, it's clever what he was doing. If he had a solid backdrop, he would take a headshot. If he didn't have a solid backdrop, he would take a centre of mass shot. And he's obviously thinking about the damage to the buildings outside. So this fucking bloke, who I can't even remember his name, had commented saying, do it properly, shoot them all in the head and blah, blah, blah. I sent him a message saying, stop being a fucking wet wipe. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that's what you pick up from that, like, and I can tell you now, you've never shot pigeons in huge numbers, because if you had, you would have known what he was doing. So he was like, I'm telling you now, son, I've been shooting pigeons for the last 15 years and da. And it raised a question in my head. And the question is this: is it usual that the length of time someone has in any given skill set, but on this condition in the pest control industry, do we think that is linked to their ability, directly proportionate?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Or asking them? Let's
Anyone?
ask the audience.
Yeah, go on. No, what do you think?
What do I think? Do I think that the longer you've been doing it, the better you become?
Do you
Simply
think?
put.
No. The question is, do you think that the amount of time someone has been doing it is nearly always directly proportionate to how good they are at the job?
No.
No, I don't either.
No, because if you don't, because again, things, it's a bit like everybody that's been moaning about CPD and anything like that. You have to keep up with it. Just because you've been doing it a long time, if you're not bothering to keep up with anything, then it's a bit like a mechanic, isn't it? A mechanic, I did my first basic car mechanics on a Morris Minor engine. Well, what fucking use would that be now? I mean, so if a mechanic that had been working on Morris Minor engines for the last 35 years was then stuck in front of a new Jaguar, wouldn't have a clue, even though he'd been doing it for 30 years.
I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to say I actively avoid people who say that, because I think it's an excuse. But as soon as they say to me, I've been doing this for 15 years, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's one of the things that they use to try and allay my fears or convince me that they are good at their job, I will immediately ignore them. I think it's like, Lionel Messi doesn't come up to you and go, do you know how long I've been playing football for? Like you work doing the talking. Like I find that it is an excuse used by people.
That's a good one. You can still do 30 years, skate along, and still be shit.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've worked with people who have done 30 years who are brilliant at what they do, right? Phenomenal at what they do. Not once have I ever heard them say to me, do you know what it is? Been doing this for 30 years, son, I know what I'm doing. Because they have that self-confidence and that inner belief, and they don't need your like appraisal, really. They're just like, I'm okay, and they're the people who I like to listen to and actively search out as a mentor.
Yeah. So we've got a few more comments coming in. Somebody's Rupert says, depends if you're open to learning. Every day's a school day if you're of that mindset. That's perfectly true. Yeah. Sharon Richards, pest management is a challenge and you have to be a detective. If you enjoy that, it works for you. That's true. You don't need to be a detective, to be honest, to be a routine monkey, because you're just going in and we'll come on to the bait box kickers in a minute.
Yeah.
So Steve says, I always say things like, I've been doing this for 25 years and I'm learning new things.
That's
Ashley,
the best world, isn't it?
That answers my question. 10 years and it turns out I was shit.
Yeah, no, I like all that.
How long is irrelevant, as it's a job you never stop learning. This is true. Absolutely.
So if you're a technician, should you be paid more the longer you've been in a company?
Oh, here we go, Neil. Don't encourage him. Still learning. 30 years in 1st of April.
No, being serious. If this is true, then should you be paid more for the length of time that you were at a job, or should it be based solely upon your attitude towards work and what you actually get done?
Surely it has to be on your work and what you get done, not just because you've done it for a long time. Because you could be a wasteful fucker and still be doing it for 25 years, can't you?
Oh yeah, this is what I love about Andrew. And Andy Snevsky says, to answer Hugh's earlier question, first-year apprentices makes roughly 14% of our billable rate in wages. And this is where I think the UK could learn a lot from the USA. They understand their figures to the decimal, don't they?
Yeah. Which is, yeah.
Because you won't have a clue. Neither you nor I will have an absolute clue of what percentage of billable, blah, blah, blah. You won't have a clue, will you?
Not a clue. No. Rupert
Yeah.
says performance-based, not time in the job, surely.
Until you're the bloke with 30 years who's been with that company for 30 years, saying, I've been here 30 years, I should get more than them. I've done this, I've done that for you, you know, and it's going to
Here's your gold watch. Here's your gold
Yeah.
watch. Now, fuck off.
Go on, the next one.
Next one is the box ticker. Ticks every box, but there's still rats running around his feet, but every box is ticked. Writes a good report. No pests, no pests, no pests, no activity. No activity, but there's still a rat problem.
Should he have a job or should he be sacked?
How do you know? That's the other thing.
You always find out.
I reckon that it takes 18 months before you know that a technician's swinging.
Reckon.
Yeah, about 18 months is the kick-in time, I think, to be honest. Unless you've got QAs going out chasing all the time. Hang on, everybody's piling in. Look.
Yeah, it's coming in thick and fast, isn't it?
Steve, I feel wages in pest control for techs has stagnated for lots of years. I don't know. I was on £200 a week. Mr. 30 years. Brian says, based upon accreditation, just because you have done the job for a long period of time doesn't mean you know it all. Someone who has been in the industry could be dealing with different issues and have more knowledge than someone who hasn't dealt with a certain pest for a long time. T's Pest Quest says, box tickers are the worst.
Yeah. I understand that it's to a business, though. Ratty boots.
Yeah, the box ticker, not much actual use, just giving the appearance of service. 2 and 6. I take it that's money.
Yeah, still using the.
We're still using threepenny bits when you started, Q.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand why a box ticker can be useful to a business, though.
The box ticker is the routine monkey. I think they are probably, you know, somewhere along the same line. You know, again, sorry, guys, Mr. 30 years. When I worked for Rentokil, it was routine after routine after routine after routine after routine after routine. Domestic job once a year. You know, you might go get a job, domestic job once a year, maybe. The rest of the time it was routine. How many routines per day? We want 10 routines a day. That changed to 12 routines a day. You know, just routine.
Would you sack a lad, though, if he'd been a great box ticker, but there was rats running around on site?
Would you sack him?
Mm-hmm.
How could you? That's the problem, isn't it? You couldn't sack him. You'd have to retrain.
I think you could.
I think you'd probably, depending, your HR department would be.
I would strongly suggest that if you documented that correctly and you'd been to several sites, and the boxes were all ticked, but you went in and you could find evidence of active pest infestations there that had been missed through negligence, then I think that's as bad, if not worse, than not checking your boxes, isn't it?
I think that you would be made to, if you went to ACAS or whatever, to retrain them, give them additional help and training. But got some few more. Could be good for clean sites with no issue and need clean paperwork. Tickies.
Yeah.
T's Pest box tickers are not involved enough.
This raises the point, right, which goes through my head all the time. if you've got someone who is that accurate, who can do the paperwork, who can tick everything and do everything, and we go back to that attitude and they're not involved enough, can you as a boss motivate someone to be involved, or is it intrinsically within them that ultimately they're just coming to work for a wage, and you know they're going to tick the boxes and go through the motions, and they're going to leave and go home and not think about it? Yeah, box tickers become auditors. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
No, they become consultants, don't they?
They usually do, don't they?
Yeah.
They usually do.
What is it? What is it to say? If you can't do, teach.
Yeah.
That's the old.
We've dealt with a few consultants who couldn't, you know.
Rupert, if you think you're worth more, make your case. Move on if you're not getting enough through.
Yeah.
So we've agreed that is the box ticker. Do you think the box ticker is the same as the bait box kicker, or is there a slight difference?
I think the bait box kicker is worse because I don't think he has the attention to detail that the box ticker does.
Right, so we're putting them in two separate. Well, I'll make a note.
Yeah.
Separate categories. What does everybody else think? Oh no, Steve thinks no. What's everybody else think? Is the bait box kicker the same as the box ticker? What do we think? Right. The next one is the gadget collector.
That's me. I am absolutely 100%. The older I get, the more I love a bit of tech. I love it.
But the problem is it a case? Is it a case of all the gear, no idea?
What gadgets would you buy in pest control though?
What gadgets would you buy?
Because I'm like tech. I love new technology. I absolutely love it. Earphones. Yeah, love them.
A good torch. You know, that's a gadget, isn't it? You can get a fucking LED shitty torch, but you know.
Tell you what, watch this. Make a list of gadgets that you think pest controllers might buy, and see if I've got them. So first of all, we've got boneless conducting earphones. Got a set of them from when I'm on.
Do they give? Mine give me a bit of a headache.
No, I love them. Someone said a drone. Yep. We've got one of them. We've had two actually. One of them got stolen out of the van that got broken into, and I've got a little one for thingy. I've got a thermal camera. I've got two. I've got a thermal camera, a thermal spotter. We've got guns with.
Come on, guys. Come on, try to catch him out, for God's sake. Come on.
Yeah. Thermal camera. Yeah. Got one of them and two of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Torch. Just bought one the other day. I'll show you it. It has
little ferret cam.
I've got a ferret cam. Got two. The torch I've got has a green dot on it, and it has.
It's going. Your camera's going mental again.
That's been a dickhead, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So, and it's also got a green laser on it. It's quite good. Infrared torch that's built into my torch. So yeah, we've got one of them. UV torch is a must. Yeah. Have you got a flux capacitor? Yeah. I love a gadget. I absolutely love it.
Talking about gadget, what about sat nav? Do you think sat nav's dead? Does anybody use a sat nav anymore? Or does everybody just use their phone? Anyone got a Nokia 3310?
No, I've got a phone. Here's one. Andy Sinevsky. To answer Sean's question about motivation. If you have a motivated tech, you have a broken culture. I don't know if I agree with that. Because I think people can lose motivation, you know. I think to have someone and think that you can keep them motivated for 30 years is probably not realistic. So say if someone's been with you for 10 years and they need a change, the first thing that you will notice, I think, is they'll lose motivation. I think you're right. If every single person is unmotivated, then you've got a broken culture. See, you've got a tech. Here's one for you then, Andy. See, you've got a great technician. You've got a lad with a load of capabilities, right? Like the best lurcher I ever could have had. Could catch anything, could do anything, but just didn't want to chase a rabbit. Can you get it to want to chase a rabbit? Can you get that technician to realize his potential?
Here's one. Got an
Boroscope. Yeah, I've got a boroscope with a 4-way movable head.
Body camera.
Why would you need a body camera?
When you're going in some social housing people's. We have to send 2 technicians on some jobs. You know, rear links.
Yeah,
Here's a quick question about motivation. Do you think that a technician is demotivated by an unmotivated boss, or do you think that do you think that a unmotivated technician is demotivated by an unmotivated boss?
No, I think
you don't think they mirror that there. If you think to yourself, what fucking lazy bastards out on the golf course again, and I'm grinding away here, and what do you
I can only
do you think that's
I can only speak personally, and from my point of view, my boss's behavior never had an influence on how hard I was going to try. I was always going to try 3,000%, always, regardless. And in fact, like in most of my jobs that I've ever had, I've always outcompeted my boss, like on every occasion. I would see it as like a personal quest to be, to work harder, to put more hours in. It was like a quest in my head to do it. So I can only talk personally. I think that your motivation is put into you at an early age. And I've never ever seen anybody's motivation change over a long period of time. You get ebbs and flows, but I think there's a general rule that level of normality is there, and then ebbs and flows come up and down.
I do think that you would get demotivated if your boss is just, obviously the size of company makes a big difference. But I think in a small company where there's maybe 6, 7, 8 of you, 5, whatever you want to say, and your boss is a bit of a waster and he's taking the piss out of you and, just using you as a cash cow and going out and pissing around, then I think I think that would demotivate you.
Here's one from Stuart. Stuart's on here. Definitely having a boss that is passionate about the job, perfect. Having a boss who isn't into the job can drag the company and individual techs down. Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. Hair growth led helmet. You could both. Ashley, you prick. Yeah, you're absolutely right though. Ashley is taking the piss out of us being follically challenged. He said a hair growth led helmet. You could both benefit. Absolutely, Yeah. Here's a one from Ratty Boots. I called a staff meeting for all the techs when they were more interested in the when we were more interested in the company than they were. See, it's difficult, isn't it? Yeah. Go on the next one. What we're looking at next one.
Next one. I wondered if you could get caught out with a gadget.
I think I'm good. Got everything on it.
I'll tell you what you haven't got.
What?
Ask Neil. You haven't got a special protector for the end of the bait safe keys, have you? That fits on the end of the key so that they don't hook in your pockets.
I get that, and I don't want to piss on Neil's chips, but believe it or not, although I love a gadget, I also like to keep things very simple. So like,
It is
if there's
simple.
something yeah, but if I'm going to lose it, that would be on my key for about 10 seconds before it was gone, done. Wouldn't even bother buying one, you know. But yeah, like, yeah.
I'll tell you another thing you haven't got.
What you could have said was you don't have a 3D printer, and that probably would have kicked us into the urge to needing a 3D printer for something.
I'll tell you what you haven't got. You haven't got shelf brackets that look like pieces of cheese, have you?
No, I definitely
There you
don't.
go.
I could see me having a 3D printer at some point, you know. I could definitely see that being the case.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, you haven't got the patience. Honestly, you'd throw it out the window.
That bad?
Yeah, I understand Neil's how much work he puts into designing stuff and the time that it takes to learn the. I don't know what the software's called. So I'd be like, fuck this. Give me a knife and a stick to whittle. Yes, you did. I know that. I can vouch for that. Neil says, I broke off a van key in the ignition because I caught a key on my pocket. That's why I made the key protector. Yes, I drove there with the spare.
Yeah. People are printing hoods with wooden traps so that the rats were in the right place when the.
Oh, I've seen those. I saw those. It's like just like a dome, like a pig arc, and they go over the top of the traps so that they get their heads in the right place. Not sure about that, but there.
No,
Next one.
Like it. Yeah, go on. Next one.
The van disaster.
Me. Oh, mate. Me. What I am. If I led the category, any category in that, I am the category of the van disaster. Right. You ask anyone. Doug Harrison from Durham Council. And if anyone doesn't know Durham Council, Doug is ex-army, and he's the more like, what was that movie where she opened her cupboards and all the tins had been turned the right way?
Oh yeah, I can't.
Fatal Attraction. Fatal Attraction.
Oh,
someone in the stores that said every single bottle of stuff, he's took a big black pen and he's wrote on the expiry date. They're all arranged alphabetically, blah 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 blah. And I knew what he was like. My van is just a total shithole disaster in it. So I was like trying to open it and get stuff out without him seeing. And at one point he went, I saw when you opened the door, you know. I'm like, I am that, but I'm just proper excuse, but I'm just so busy. So yeah, it is what it is. I'll take that one on the chin. Van disaster. However, I'm going to flip it on its head. Because my pet hate, my biggest pet hate, right, and I'll never ever fall foul of this, is turning up to a job and not having what's needed.
Now, you see, if your van was tidy and organised, you would be able to look straight in the back and see what was missing and what was needed.
See, I find that when they are mega tidy and mega organised, they've often taken a lot of stuff off, and you get there and you're like sleeping with the enemy. I think that was the thing, yeah. I think what happens is you get there and you're like, have you gotten? They're like, no, it's at the office because I pulled it out and left it in the office. Like, I want to go there. I want to go, have you got red plugs? Have you got black? Have you got red plugs, brown plugs? Have you got the right screws? Have you got some drill bits? Have you got SDS drill bits? Have you got impact drill bits? You know, have you got this? Have you got that? I want them to have what they need in that van at any one time to make sure that I'm not going home. Have you got mesh for meshing up for, you know, have it in your van. It's no good having to go back to fix a job. So if anyone is a disaster, right?
That's
go on.
Oh, I was going to say that one.
Yeah, carry the kitchen sink.
It does.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
No, but he won't.
No,
so when Fish says this, I bet you all already know where it all is, even though the van's a tip. Yeah, I do. Like my van can be an absolute tip, and the lads will go, where the SDS drill bits, I'll be like, open the back door, second shelf up on the left, they're in there. Like, because I throw it in, but I throw it in an order. There's an order to how it goes. So tools in one bit, poison in another bit, drain stuff here, da da da. And so I always have a very good idea of where stuff is.
So out of everybody that's watching, who's a van disaster and who's a tidier?
I'm a disaster.
You're a disaster.
You're a tidy boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'd sort of, yes, I would like to think so. Yeah, reasonably tidy. Yeah, reasonably tidy.
Mine's a disaster. I'm going to work hard on it and get it not to be a disaster, but yeah.
So there's another. I was going to say there's another. Go
on. Does it make a difference? Does it influence? Because Brian says that here, a well-organized van equals a well-organized good technician. Does it? Does it? Is it proportionate to how much you want to employ that technician?
There you go.
Yeah. When I met Hugh, he was cleaning out rat boxes with a vacuum cleaner. That doesn't surprise us yet. Yeah.
So here we go. Here's the thing about vans. Do you think that the investment in van racking and good van racking is worth it? Or do you just think it should be just chucked in?
We have racking, and I think racking is important for us, that you know what area, so you go in, your tools go in left side, your poisons go in right side or whatever. Yeah.
There's another one. My outside of the van is clean and that's all the customer sees. That's another comment, isn't it? That's another so who's the Mr. Scruffy van on the outside? Scruffy on the outside, Scruffy on the inside, just Scruffy himself. No, doesn't know what boot polish is. Got his shirt hanging out around his outside his trousers. Crack of his arse showing. What image does that give the company?
Yeah. Now Brian says it. You can tell Brian's at that level of management, can't you? That person is representing your company. It's a company image that customers see first. Come on, the next one.
The quiet assassin.
Oh, I'm not quiet.
The perfect technician.
The quiet assassin.
That's the last. I think that's the last one. What makes a good technician? The quiet assassin.
So he has a question for you. I believe that the ability to solve a problem, or should I say, in often with that, I think the ability to kill something. By that, I don't mean physically, like I can go and kill that there. I mean, can work out the problem, what's going on. And someone alluded to it earlier on at the very top. I'm going to find it. And he says about, let me see if I can find it, about being in quick, 10 seconds done. My throat so.
Don't die on me.
Oh Christ, my throat so. Sorry, you grab this. I'm just going to mute myself while.
So I tell you what, guys, what I've got here that ChatGPT came out with. We've got what makes a good technician. It says here, inspection first, understands pest behavior, looks for causes and not symptoms. That's a good one. Somebody that looks at the actual cause of the problem rather than just kills the actual pest itself. That's a very good point. Recommends proofing and prevention, not just, we want to kill it and actually we'd like you to get another mouse so that you can stay on contract, please. And takes pride in their job. That's all that what makes a good technician, according to the bot. What other things have we missed?
Do you know, I remember the three things that I'm just Googling this. Buffett says looks good.
Don't sign your van. It makes a difference, believe me. T's Pest Quest. Why do you think that's the case, mate? It's one of the most...
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Warren Buffett said that there are three things that he looks for in someone he's going to hire: integrity, intelligence, and energy. Of these, he prioritizes integrity above all others, famously noting that if a person lacks this final quality, the first two, intelligence and energy, he's not worth having.
How do you actually tell if somebody's got integrity, though, when you're taking them on?
You don't, do you? I think
no.
You have to find out. You've got a good feeling, haven't you? But integrity, I agree, is the cornerstone of where you're going, the bedrock of what you're going to build from. The intelligence.
What do you class as integrity?
A moral compass that isn't centered around their own individual needs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's quite profound, Sean.
Yeah.
As an off-the-cuff thing.
Yeah. Write it down. Write it down. Don't come up with them very often.
Stuart Blair, having a technician who is wanting to resolve the infestation issues by root cause, not just throwing non-tox blocks into bait stations, etc., with a presentable and polite manner that can build a relationship with the customer.
So I'm going to give Stuart a bit of a telling off here, because Stuart is exactly what I was when I was an employee. And I'll tell you a quick story. I got headhunted when I was a police officer in London. I hadn't finished my probation, and I got headhunted to go up to the crime squad because I was knocking doors out of windows, as they say. I was doing really well, blah, 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 blah. My sergeant at the time was a guy called Nick. Nick left and a bloke called Alex came in. I was doing more than anyone else, and And I was first on the team sheet, no matter what job. Right. And I think everyone that was there would agree, like, I was first on the team sheet. And when Nick, who I presumed was a very good friend of mine, handed over to Alex, he said, Sean's really good, but he's unmanageable. And I can remember it fucking hurt me badly. So I remember thinking, I've got up early for you. I've bust my bollocks for you. Like, I've done everything that I could have. And you've, like, thrown us under the bus to a new sergeant coming in. Like, why didn't you say the good things? Looking back now, with some hindsight, I was absolutely a fucking nightmare. And it's this, like, when you are like Stuart is, or I was, you're walking that fine wire. And when you are caught up in it, it's very difficult to not understand that there is another way to solve the problem with a bit of diplomacy. Like, I'm a lot better now at it because I've had to be. But when he says here about where's it, like, having a technician want to resolve the infestation, that's exactly what I was like. I was like, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to get there. I'm going to do it. Blah 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 blah. But sometimes you have to have that maturity to temper that, don't you? Because I've certainly been places and I've seen things where you're like, yeah, you got to the problem, you solved it, I stamped on a rat outside of a window. Could have went terribly wrong. Rob Simpson, ask him about this. I'm walking around the site with me, and there was a rat, a pretty dozy rat, goes walking across the grass, and I just sprung into action. I was like, great, it's dead. So I run over and stamped on it. So I stamped on it, I turned around, and one of the women who worked in the block of flats, in the block of offices, was stood in the window watching us. I was like, oh no, I've proper stamped this in the floor. Luckily, she gave us the big thumbs up, and she was like, yes, because she didn't like rats. Now, that's the perfect example, isn't it? Sometimes you can say what they want and you want to back that tech up to the hilt, but sometimes it has to come with that little bit of like almost with a volume control, and take it off the 10 and knock it to an 8, don't you? Because that's more than good enough. It's going to get the problem solved, but you just have to be careful of that. And Stuart, that's me being nice to you, you ignorant bastard. So don't talk to us ever again. He's sitting there now. He's fuming. I know he's fuming.
What then?
Yeah.
What then do you think is the biggest giveaway that they are a bad technician?
I don't think I've had one, so I don't know.
No. Unmanageable. What's Rupert said? Unmanageable, unemployable, entrepreneurial. Yeah, that word. Entrepreneurial.
Do you know my favourite saying is, or one of your favourite sayings, I've got loads of them, is I never realised that I was not cut out to be an employee until I wasn't an employee. I didn't know any better. You know, I just went to work and worked hard. I've been taught from a very early age, you know, go to work hard for your money, be proud of what you do, and it being drilled into us. It was only when I started looking after myself, I was like, it was like a weight off, you know, like a weight off my shoulders, just being able to go out and do what I thought was right and not respond to someone else. I was not an employee. I was just someone in that role. So yeah.
Well, there's one that Neil's just said, liars. That makes it real. You know, when you say to somebody, did you do that routine? Did you do that bait box? Yeah, I did. When you know for 100% stone cold fact that they didn't. I'd just rather that somebody, luckily, don't get that. This is in a different life. I'd just rather somebody turned around and just said, actually, do you know what? I was feeling pretty shit that day. I walked past it, you know, rather than just try to cold-faced lie to you. It's,
you know, the one thing that I would say to any employee, it's very, 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 very difficult to shout and get upset when someone tells you the truth, no matter how bad the truth is, if they just tell you the truth. So I find that people will lie, not because they're liars, but because they're scared of getting in trouble. I know I love you too, Stuart. And you know I'm only saying it because you know it's true and you know you are that person, but there you go. Yeah, and the other thing as well is, I think from a boss's point of view, if you just tell us the truth, if you say, listen, I walked past it, I hadn't yet up my arse that day, I couldn't be bothered, and I filled in the paperwork, I didn't do the routine, like fucking knobhead. But then at least you know how to deal with it, don't you?
Yeah.
When they go, no, I did. Yeah, I did. And then you jump in the van, you drive up there, and there's fucking shit in the box, and you think, you're fucking lying to us. Like, when someone goes, yeah, I did that, you're like, don't do it again, dickhead. Like, that's the end of it, isn't it? Like, you can't get into trouble for telling the truth, can you?
Yeah, no. Oh, did you turn out? What time are you at work this morning? 9:30. Oh, no, I was there at 8 o'clock. I was sat outside your house at 7:30, and I was still there at 9:30, and you hadn't fucking moved. I remember that. So I used to have to go around doing that, sit outside somebody's house just to see what time they came out. And it's like,
constructive? Is that actually constructive though? If it's got to that point, surely you cannot be wanting to employ that person.
It was so back in another life. it was just like one of those things that you had to do. It was one of those things to supervise.
So what? So you would
Why
dip
not?
sample lads. So that was a dip sample thing that you would do to them.
Yeah. So you used to have QA sheets, you know, for your QA visit, where you go and do a QA on an actual call, and you'd have a visit, and then you'd have to look at their you know, before even Scions, which was like the handheld things. You'd look at the times, time card. We had little cards, put your times on. And the only way to really tell if somebody was turning out on time was actually to sit outside their door in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I just can't see that being constructive. Imagine like your lads come out and see you sitting in the van watching them. It must just be an absolute motivation killer.
I've got to admit, there was one Friday when we were going camping, and I came home early and I loaded up my van, my rent-a-kill van, with all the camping equipment, and I turned around and I was driving up the road just as my supervisor was coming down the road. And I was like, yeah, it's 3:30. I'm home. And he was like, that's all right, Hugh. You know, it's fine. We know that when we want something, we can just turn to you and say, Hugh, can you go and do 20 routines in Swindon, and you just go and do it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And that's the difference, isn't it? If somebody says, if somebody says to you, can I take 2 hours off? Yeah, no problem. Don't just take them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone agrees that, like, just don't be a bullshit. That's a bad tech, innit? I don't think there's many people who have even if you don't have that ability to solve a problem, right? The certain lads can walk in and just go, I know what's going on, yeah. It's a drain fault. I know what's going on, yeah. The next door neighbours have got a problem or whatever it is, or they can put stuff together and they've just got this. I think with this job, you can almost rely on the systems that have been put in place by the previous technicians to get to the solution, can't you? You know, if you follow the 10-step fucking program or whatever it is to solve the problem. I don't know what the biting insect is that's biting them. If you are that rubbish, right, you'd be like, I'm going to put some monitors down. Yeah, like, oh yeah, it's fleas. You know, all right, yeah. Like, how do we treat fleas? You follow the instructions on the label and you get to the right thing. So I don't think there's many people out there who aren't clever enough to be able to do this job, even if the maybe's not the, they're not the Stuart Blairs who can just wander in and whip a gun out and blow the living daylights out of something, or work out how that rat's getting into that building or whatever it is. You can still get this job done with just a bit of basic intelligence, can't you? If you follow the systems that are put in place. Agree or not?
No.
Why?
Because I think there has to be a certain level of detective work involved, and even if you've got a standard operating procedure and you just follow or maybe I've got the question wrong. It takes some detective work, and on some jobs it isn't just a matter of just following the label. Maybe for certain jobs, like a flea job, you shouldn't be able to get that wrong as long as you follow the label and your standard operating procedure. But when it's I don't know, a rat in someone's house, I think probably you need some detective skills. You can still follow your procedure.
Sorry, I haven't explained myself properly there. What I'm saying is, I think that over 3 or 4 visits, most people will have the intelligence, if they're doing this job regular, in order to be able to work it out. You don't have to be the lad who walks into a property and within 10 seconds can go, do you know what it is? This is a drain fault. This is you just any terrace, you're that. I think most people over the course of a treatment, will be able to usually be able to figure out what's going on if you're doing the job on a basis.
Yeah. Yeah. So Neil said there are levels of success linked to levels of effort and ability. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's different. I think everybody's agreed. Don't agree. Yeah. So I think everybody's agreed that the honesty is the best policy.
yeah. So here's a question for you then. Can bosses change the levels of effort or ability within a member of staff in order to increase the level of success that they have? Or is this something that the technician has to want to do? Does he have to want to put the effort in? Does he have to want to increase his ability? Is it the chicken or the egg? Because I think if you ask technicians, actually, I don't know. I was going to say, if you ask technicians, most technicians would say, you know, the boss has to motivate us, the boss has to do this, the boss has to do that. But actually, after tonight's conversation, I don't think that is the case. I think a lot of these technicians do see it as their own individual ability. But if you ask bosses, I'm pretty confident most bosses would say, you know, the tech has to want to do it.
Some bosses don't care what and how you do it as long as they get paid for the job, says Fish for London. That's a different company ethos, though, isn't it? That's a completely different sort of thing. Ratty Boots, the boss can direct time and attention, do 8 jobs well and resolve the issues, or get around 12 sites in a day. What does your boss choose? Does that say something about your boss then? The boss can direct.
So that deal having a go at you. You're trying to get him to do 12 sites a day and he's sick of fucking not doing 8 jobs well.
We don't have any targets. The biggest thing that I always say, and I don't expect Neil to back me up, but is do the job, do it properly, do it well, and make sure the quality is there. I'd rather spend an extra 20 minutes to get it right than just trying to rush around.
Yeah.
There is a, don't get me wrong, there is a time to rush around, you know, but there is also a time when you just got to take it steady, take it easy, and get it right.
That's an interesting one. Do you know what it is, Fish for London? You said earlier on that your boss was on Rogue Traders. I think I remember that episode. Was it the one where he would
he splashed?
Like I did think it was a bit shit though, like looking back, because they like put some bed bug casings in one corner of the bed or something, didn't he? And you run around no PPE and blah blah blah, and then it turned out his boss was just getting them to like bosh numbers. Yeah.
But he put the sprayer on the bed, didn't he, to fill it up, and he filled it up, and there was a bit of overflow, and he just went flop, flop, and just splunked it out all over the mattress.
I remember that. Yeah.
That was class, that one.
Game which is harder, which brings more work.
I think that, you know, that really is it. That really is it for a pest control company, isn't it? Rather than having sides, that it's the technician this side and it's the boss that's that side. That's what makes a company different. It is a team game, and from both sides, you've all got to be pulling in the same direction. I think that's the one thing from tonight that will come out, that it's 50 of one and 50 of the other. Agree?
What I love about these though, it definitely gives you food for thought in how you can deal with your own techs to try and help them reach their potential, if that makes sense. I think this is just me. I think the one quality that I would want in any technician is that they want to achieve their potential. And not think 70%, 80%, 90%. I want them to look and think, I want to achieve 100% of my potential. And I think once they get to, but that's how I thought. And I think you always think that people should think and behave the way you do. So it always worries me if maybe I'm not quite getting that right, and maybe 70% fine, 80% fine. It's just a job for them. But I hate the thought of them leaving something on the table, not understanding how good they could be. One bad egg's like a cancer can tear through a team, demotivating everyone. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, because all they got to do is, meet up for a cup of coffee. Fucking boss is a wanker, isn't he? Why we work? Oh, well, why are we doing this? Oh God, look at next week's. Look what we got next week to do.
Yeah. You can't, and you wouldn't want to stop your technicians talking. But when I was a police officer and you're in teams like that, you could see that so fast, so much. One technician, like one officer, could drag everybody down. That's not right. This isn't right. Has a problem for every solution. You have a problem for every solution. You have a solution for every problem. And if they've got that head on them, there's nothing you can do with them. Like that is, for me, definitely within them. Like, because you could have paid them lads £1 million and they would have still complained. Ha. So T's Pest Quest lives around the corner. He lives about 1 street away from us. Get yourself to the Habit. There's a local pub, the Naughty Habit. No, definitely not. I've got a house full of 10-year-olds when I finish this, and they are making dens and blah blah blah. So no, I'll go and give our last.
4 minutes left, mate. 4 minutes left. Anything that we go on then?
I was going to say, if there's anyone out there who wants to ask us any questions off the back of tonight's podcast, not like just random ones, put them in the comments now. Or if you think I've been a prick, or you think I've been unfair, or what have you.
Got 5 minutes to get your questions in. 5 minutes, and then we're off.
And in this time, we'll tell you next week. We've got the news section again.
The news, yeah.
But we also have Pestex.
Who's going to Pestex? That's watching.
I am for definite. I'll see people down there. Yeah, cards. If you need a card, and I'm going to Pestex and you're there, I'll print them out and take them down with us. We are building a new bit into our app whereby when you go on your card, you'll hit a button and it'll trigger the card being printed and sent out to you. So we're going to send you a physical card. We've had to alter the system so much with regards to the way crews are proving points and stuff like that, that it's just caused us a massive headache. We've had to build and rebuild the system several times because of the way that rules have been changed. We think we've got to where we need to be, and Gary's going to build his card request in, so we're going to go from there. So yeah, let's see how that goes. If you want a card, let us know and I'll be down there.
Well, you're going to take him out the back and punch his lights in. I want 5 minutes with Sean in the harbour.
Question. As company owners, what do you guys think is a good technician? What do you look for, and what warrants a good wage? Go on, I'll let you go first, Hugh.
Company owners, what do you think makes a good tech? Good technician, self-motivation, good root cause analysis, able to organize themselves well, able to actually ask a question when they're not 100% sure of what they're doing. I'd far rather somebody phone me up and ask me the question and just said, I want to run this by you, rather than bullshit the customer and they don't know anything about it. What else makes a good technician? Again, I think we've done it enough. Honesty. Sean?
I believe that he has to want to achieve his potential. I know I've just said that. He has to want to achieve his potential. And then on top of that, The honesty and integrity thing, just, don't be a bullshit and just say it. Because if you tell us what's happened, honestly, there's very little that you could do that can't be solved. There's nothing so griffy as it can't be sorted out. Everything can be sorted out one way or another. If you
what happens if they don't know their potential?
And
what happens if they don't give a shit about reaching their potential, or they just don't even know what you're talking about?
So that's two different things, isn't it? What happens if they don't know their potential? Then as a boss, you have to tell them. You have to say to them, listen, like, you can do this. I've got no doubt about it. You can do it. And you have to tell them that potential's there, and you have to make them believe they've got that potential. Not caring about their potential is a whole different thing, isn't it? If it's like, I'm a bollard, I don't think you can work with that. Good boss encourages potential. You should try to motivate them into being the best that they can be, but they have to want to be the best that they can be as well. They have to want, and then the honesty and integrity thing, just don't fucking bullshit. It's just tell us the truth, because most people, if you're running a business, I would think, are probably switched on enough to have a bullshit radar that will detect it from like 50 yards away, won't they? Like, you can see it before it happens 9 times out of 10, can't you? Like, I say to my lads all the time, I know what yous are going to do before yous do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been with them that long now. Like, I know what yous are going to do. I know what yous are going to do. So yeah, that's what we want. A good wage.
And there was one thing on that potential thing. There's nothing wrong with a technician. I'm echoing, but
no, you're good. Go
on. If a technician wants to do something and something's holding them back, and you think, I really want to go on that, I want to know about more insects more. I don't feel I have enough knowledge. There's nothing wrong going to your employer and saying, do you know what, mate? If a course comes up, I'd really like to go and do that course. Nothing wrong with it. And your boss
would get me excited.
Yeah. Your boss would be fucking over the moon for that. You're like, what? Really? Okay. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, that would get me excited. That would get me excited. And a good wage, do you know what it is? I've thought about this a lot, because I think as a boss, the reality of it is that the wage is dictated by the figures. When the bean counter has to come in, I would absolutely love to pay my lads £1 million a year. I'd love to do it. I'd absolutely love to do it. But, and this is one of the stresses that bosses have, you have to be able to pay their wages for 12 months of the year, every year. So in the back of my head, I'm always sitting there thinking, and this is just me being open and honest with you, I'm always thinking to myself, I need a cushion in that bank account that will make sure that worst case scenarios, these lads are always going to get paid. That if a big job goes bust, or we go through a period of people not paying, which every business does. You have to be there and capable of making sure that everything's matched. So you look and you think, I want to motivate them. I want to pay them well. So in my business, I honestly believe that their wages are directly linked to their attitude towards work. So it's like, if they were going out and bringing work in, or quoting work, or whatever it is, and I don't have to touch it and it's bringing in money, then you can get paid more, can't you? Like that's how I see it.
Because you do have to keep looking at it and thinking, we're going to need a new van soon. We're going to have that buffer. We need some new equipment. And at the same time, balance that out without suddenly thinking, I'm going to give them a 55% pay rise. Oh, fuck, we've gone bankrupt. And it's very difficult. It's a real difficult balance.
But this is like, and everyone I would like to think would probably agree with this. If I turned around, right, if every business in the world, if every pest control business turned around to their employees and said, listen, we're going to do a profit share. Every single penny of profit that comes in, we're going to share out. The business would crash and burn in the blink of an eye. I'd almost guarantee you, because what would happen is that start arguing. Well, I've done more work than you, and I've done this and I've done that, but I brought this and I brought that in. Now I want more. The other thing is, one thing's for certain, it definitely wouldn't grow. Because if you had 10 employees and you said, listen, we've made 100 grand this year, so everyone gets 10 grand. Or we can take on another employee and we can train them up for a couple of years and and in 2-3 years time, you'll be bringing in some money and he's going to have his own thing and But it means that it's going to get shared out between 11 instead of 10. They'd all turn around and go, no, we're happy at 10. We're happy at 10. We ain't moving. And as a boss, you have to have that maturity to turn around and say, listen, the needs of the business are greater than the needs of any one individual, me, them, whatever it is. So like the wages thing, I would say to any employee, have a think about how you could increase your own wages, because it's very difficult for someone not to increase it. If you're bringing that money in, I think it's incredibly difficult not to increase it in one way or another.
On that note,
yeah. Goodbye for me.
And goodbye for me.
God bless.
Thank you for listening to the Beauties and Beasties podcast.